Hello there, Happy New Year and welcome back to another episode of TriRealHard. Today I just want to show you quickly the workshop, pain cave and office area that I've managed to set up. So I don't have a garage. I know a lot of people who are into triathlon use the garage, insulate the garage and put in the turbo trainer and treadmill and etc. in there. I don't have that. But fortunately my wife has kindly let me use our conservatory because, to be honest, it's kind of too cold in the winter and too hot in the summer to use. To try and make it more usable throughout the year, I have put up these blackout blinds. So they're white coloured blackout blinds that I've literally just screwed into the underside of the roof, and they were cheaply sourced from IKEA. So that's really the only thing I've done to the conservatory to make it usable year round. In here I have first just a bit of garage type metal shelving. So it's like the garage racking that you would get, and under here I have my toolbox and usually one bike's worth of parts etc. that I'm using. In front I have some of the more specific tools, the torque wrenches, Allen keys, etc. that I need. So yeah, this is the main sort of workshop area, but where I actually work on the bikes is this area here. So this is the door to my office, which was actually a like a garden store. So it's a brick built garden store, and these walls that you can see here were brick, just bare brick. So I've had those plastered, and then yeah, within here is Daddy's office. So this is my office. I've got my numbers from the marathons and running events mainly that I've done, maybe just one or two one triathlon event. Then yeah, it's just enough space in here. It's about 1.3 meters by 2.2 meters, so it's just enough space in here for a load of shelving. All the bottom boxes are bike stuff, and all the top is just organisational stuff. And then on here I have my medals. I've actually got another one of these brackets to put up. So my marathon medals are in storage at the moment. This is the rest of the medals that I have. And yeah, there's just enough space here for a desk. I had a window put in to make it a bit nicer to work in, so I wasn't like working in a casino. There's a bit of light that comes in. I can change, I can open the window and get some air in here now. And then just some plug sockets and lights. So I had that done when we first moved into the house, and it was, you know, literally like a couple of grand it cost, so a big expense at the time, but nothing compared to what most people would do to their houses. Other than, so the work area is, the area I've got to actually work on bikes, I'd say is very similar to the amount of space that's actually in the office. You know, it's kind of the width of this conservatory door, and it'll fit a bike on a bike stand across the depth of the conservatory. So yeah, there's just about enough space to work on a bike. I have two bike stands. I have this bike stand, which I bought specifically to work on the TT bike. This is an Elite work stand race, it's called. Yeah, the Elite Workstand Race. I actually bought this for £20 off Facebook Marketplace. But yeah, the reason I bought it was obviously, yeah, with these proprietary seat posts that are also made of carbon, you don't really want to risk clamping onto that. So that's why I bought that one. But for all of the bikes up until now, I've used this this workstand that I have stored in the corner here. So this is what I'll be getting out in a minute to work on my next project. Unfortunately, the the Dolan area is going to have to go back in the loft for a little while because, as you may have heard, I managed to qualify for the next round of the Spindatt Trash or Bash bike build competition. So this is going to have to be put onto the back burner for a little while. I can see that on the group that Bruce, who's also qualified for the competition, he has set up a Facebook group, and I can see that people are already working hard on their builds. So to be in with a good chance, I need to manage my time well, and I think that with sort of the TT bike, I'm not really going to get out on that until after the winter anyway. I'm much more likely to use a gravel bike, which is what my entry into the competition is. So this will go back in the loft in a minute, and I'll be getting the Spindatt Trash or Bash build set up in here. So I'll be putting away all the parts I've got down there for the TT bike, and getting out the parts for the vintage mountain bike to gravel bike conversion build. So just a couple of other things while we're here that I've managed to set up in here. I do have this vise. This was just bought from Aldi's surprise aisle, which people in the UK will probably be familiar with. It changes all the time in terms of what they're selling, but you know, it's probably a £5, no more than sort of $10. So that just allows me to cut steerer tubes mainly. So I have this cutting guide here that slots into there, and then you can run the steerer tube through that and cut your carbon steerer to the right length. The main training equipment that I have are this Reebok 1 GT50. It goes up to 16 kilometers an hour or 10 miles an hour, which is 6-minute mile pace. So yeah, it goes fast enough for my training needs really, because I've always been doing marathons. I've never focused on sort of 5k or 10k really. I've always been doing half marathons and marathons, so I'm not fast enough to require a better treadmill at this stage, and this works plenty well. So yeah, it does go up on the incline up to 12 degrees, I guess that is, or maybe it might just be a level of 12, but it goes pretty steep on the incline. So when I've been training for hillier marathons, like I did a Halifax marathon, which was brutal, so when I was training for that, I could ramp it up when I didn't want to go outside. This is actually what I watch when I'm running on the treadmill. Obviously there's nothing here now, but a very old Series 2 iPad goes in here, and I can just watch Sky Go, which is something I pay for the TV for the house, but they have an app for that, so all of the stuff I get with the usual satellite TV I can watch on here through a very old iPad that I use for nothing other than watching stuff. I have the Zwift Run Pod, which is on my shoe there, just blink green. But yeah, that's the Zwift Run Pod. You know, around about £40 for one of these, and what that allows me to do is to more accurately get my running distance than the treadmill provides, and also get my data onto Strava more accurately than sort of the cadence way of working it out that the Garmin watches provide. My Garmin watch is a Forerunner 735 XT, which is adequate for up to half Ironman, I understand. So I might have to get a 910 XT, I think it is, that lasts for like a full Ironman worth of time, like 12 hours or something, or 15 hours or whatever you need. But yeah, at the moment this Garmin 735 XT actually lasts plenty long enough for the events I do, and only needs charging about once every 2 weeks. I actually got this from Facebook Marketplace for 20 quid. if you could believe that. That is what happened. Somebody in a very big house near to where I was selling it, and at that point in time I was looking for bike parts all the time on Facebook Marketplace. It popped up on the sporting goods section, 20 quid. I'd contacted her straight away and I was like, yes please. So yeah, people sell things for silly money if you're willing to look all the time. With that, I actually have it running with a Garmin chest strap. So this is a Bluetooth, I think it's called the Garmin Dual, so it's ANT Plus and Bluetooth. So I have that. I picked that up second hand from Facebook Marketplace for £17, so it's a bit stinky. But maybe I'll buy another strap if I ever used it outside of this pain cave. So yeah, that's that. And then basically the system I have in place for cycling does not connect to Zwift. I'm perfectly happy just watching stuff on the iPad and running off a dumb trainer, mainly because of the money. But this was £20, and this is the Elite Cubo Power Mag. So it's not actually set up initially to capture your cadence or distance or speed. It just has 5. Is it 5? Let's have a look. Has 8. It has 8 resistance settings. So that's all it really has, is the 8 resistance settings to adjust how hard it is to pedal. But I have bought for another £20 from eBay this Bluetooth and ANT Plus Mizuno sensor, which is an elite product and can only be used with dumb trainers that have this screw here. So if you have this screw here, you actually unscrew this part of the roller. There's 2 screws, pops out just here, and there's a battery that goes in there. Oh no, not a battery, sorry, a magnet that goes in there, and that allows this sensor to read the speed that the roller is turning at, and then that sends the data for the speed and distance through to an elite app, which I'll just tell you the name of now. So it's called My E-Training. So it's a My E-Training app, and I just use this setup to get my distance, heart rate and speed onto Strava. I'm mainly concerned with tracking my progress on Strava throughout the year, so I can see improvement. And because power is very expensive to get into, to buy power meters, you've either got to buy crank-based power meter or power pedals, all very expensive bits of kit. You also need a computer on the front, which I don't use. I just use my Garmin watch with a specific mount when I'm outside to look at my speed, heart rate and distance. So yeah, this setup is, I think, probably the cheapest possible way that you can get your numbers onto Strava from an indoor trainer. It basically consists of the Cubo Power Mag trainer bought second hand, £20. The Mizuno Pro, the Mizuno sensor, Bluetooth sensor from Elite, bought for another £20 off eBay, and then your own bike. and you just need a phone to run the My E-Training app. Currently I run my sort of summer bike, my carbon bike, on the trainer during the winter. This is a bike I built up with 10-speed SRAM and a carbon frame that I bought for around £200 or £250. So this is actually a Hind FL760 frame. It's meant to be a very light frame, so I think in a size 52 it's 760 grams, hence the name Hind FL760. And yeah, I've built it up with SRAM Apex shifters, an FSA crank, and SRAM Force front and rear derailleurs, and a SRAM Force cassette, and that is my setup for summer riding outside at the moment. I do have a winter bike that runs 10-speed Shimano on a triple crank for sort of easier winter riding, with maybe I'll be have a bag on, or I've got heavier tyres, etc. And that will come onto here during the summer months for me to use. The only other thing that you need really for like a dumb trainer setup is a turbo specific track tyre. So this is actually a tyre that Halfords, which is a big sort of sporting and automotive supplier here in the UK, like a department store really. It's their turbo trainer specific tyre. I think they charge about 15 quid for it, 20 quid maybe, and I paid £10 on Facebook Marketplace for this. So yeah, that's the setup, and basically now that I've been successful in getting into the Spindatt Trash and Bash competition, into the 20 selected bike builds, I need to focus my attention on that. I have a job that always ends up being more than full time. I have 2 children and a wife, I have a family, so yeah, this is going to be a bit of a time crunch situation for me. So this TT bike build needs to be put on hold. That's going to go back into the loft, and I'll pull out all the parts that I need for my Diamond back ascent from 1989 to be turned into a gravel bike, and that'll be in the next video. So I'll just put on a quick time lapse of me setting everything up, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for checking out my pain cave / office / workshop. I think it goes to show that you don't really need that much space or money. Obviously the most expensive thing in here for me is the treadmill, and you can pick these up for about 200 quid second hand. I wasn't that savvy when I bought this many years ago. I actually bought it using an Argos card, so I got like a store card, and then I gradually paid it off, but it was like a £400 investment at the time, but being all about running at that point, I didn't have all the bike costs associated with trying to get into triathlon and enjoying cycling, so that was the biggest expense. But yeah, I think you could do it for half of that price on the treadmill as well. So yeah, I hope that this shows that with just a little bit of space and a little bit of money, you can try and get a pain cave set up. You don't need the smart trainer, the smart treadmill, and a full garage to do your bike work. I did actually used to do all of my bike maintenance work in my grand's garage. She had a flat with a garage that she didn't use. Unfortunately, she's now gone into a home, so I can't really use that garage anymore. But fortunately, I still get to see her, so that's great. But not quite as much as when I would pop round for a cup of tea and spend a few hours in the garage and then have another cup of tea before I came home. So that was a great time, and having that space did get me into building bikes. But at home I was always restricted by the weather. I could only do it when it was good weather in the garden. So my wife allowing me to use the conservatory for this purpose has really helped sort of push things forward in terms of how many bikes I can build, etc. Without a garage, I do have to make use of a couple of sheds in the garden and the loft for storage. So that's something you do have to consider, is where you're going to store the bikes. And quite often I'll have my best bike sort of kept inside, because you don't want to risk it with security. So yeah, that's that. But many thanks for watching. I hope you like my my little area that I've got going on here, because you're going to see quite a lot more of it on the channel as we go forward. So yeah, I'll see you on the next one, and we'll be building up the Spindatt competition build.